Hey guys, not a lot going on right now, but it has been a couple of weeks since I've started the Scout, and I need to get it out in the driveway so that I need to take a new picture of it for a art rendering project that I'm working on. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this up and get it out, and while I've got it out in the sun, I thought I might kind of go over it and kind of show you, if you're looking to buy a Scout, kind of the trouble areas to look for, and see if I can maybe help some potential buyers out. The Scouts are really becoming a highly desired vehicle now. The prices are getting expensive, and there's potential things that you've got to be careful for when you're looking to buy a Scout. So let's get this thing started up and out of the garage, and we'll take a look at it. Take my fluid film off of here. This is something that a fellow Instagrammer recommended to me, and I watched some videos on it and some kind of before and after. A year later, the stuff really does do what it's advertises. So old vehicle like this, and some of these areas I'll show you why something like this could be a very handy product. So I always keep my battery disconnected when not in use. Alright, so if you're looking for a Scout and you haven't figured it out already, one of the biggest problems with Scouts is rust. Usually, I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 Scouts you look at, from 30 foot, you'll see them covered in rust. This one is a good example to use for that rare one that you do find that it appears on the surface to not be completely rusted out. Mine has sat in the garage. It's always been covered for the last 22 years at least. And it still has issues. So this will be a good example to go over, so that when you do see that one that you think that looks pretty good from 30 feet, when you really get up close to it, what kind of stuff should you be looking for to make sure that it is a good Scout to buy for whatever price it's being offered at. So just starting right back here, usually you can see here we got some rust showing here. It's kind of paint, some bubbling there. So these were prone. One big problem is that in this rear quarter, dust could go basically from the back here, and it could go all the way through the quarter panel here, and then it settles down here. Now you have a plug here. I've got mine removed because I just cleaned this out a few weeks ago, but I had dirt and mud this deep that I had to get out. So this whole area right here was just packed full of dirt and mud, and you can see it's causing bubbling here. I'll show you the inside. So you can see right through here, this hole that was cut for a speaker, the dirt was at the bottom of that. Just solid dirt built up. Same way on the other side. So But that's what would happen. That dust and everything that kicks up from the tire would just come through the rear quarter and settle down in this pocket. And it makes a bad spot for these. So you do have one of these and this isn't rusted out yet, make sure that you're pulling that drain plug out, cleaning that out periodically, because that is a problem spot. So any vehicle, these old vehicles like these, rockers are always going to be a problem. You can see these do have some holes. These are the outer rockers. We'll get underneath it in a minute and I'll show you the inner rockers. But the doors, definitely make sure and check the doors. See, these had areas for water to drain out, and you can see I've got a hole in mine right here. There's a couple holes, so that's definitely something to check for. Usually I'm not too sure about in here. Some I have seen that have some bad problems in the hinge area, but it's not usually one of the worst spots. Now one spot that is definitely bad is the windshield frame. These are very expensive if you have to buy one. Of course, you know, there's nothing reproduction made, so you're trying to find something used, and usually they're going for $800 to $1,000. So mine did have, I just recently replaced the windshield, and I had some spot here that I had to fix. I had a hole that I had to cut out and put new metal in, and so all around here was badly rusted though, in the metal. So the windshield frame you really want to check out. The bad thing is they rot from the inside out, so it's very difficult to see what condition these are in. This is something too that the stuff I showed you earlier, the fluid film, it's very something you can use. Fill the inside of these with, just spray it all down inside here and protect these. So, also on this grill right here, I'm gonna stop for a second. GPS truck coming. Okay, so right here on the cow grill, on the sides of these, there is kind of a little open square area that goes down to the fender area. Just like in the back, you get leaves and crud falling in here, it all goes through and then it builds up down here. And there's really no way to get that out. There's no way, you can't really do anything about it, so other than taking the fender off. So I'd recommend you want to make sure and check these areas out, but also make sure and check that if that is full of stuff down there, get that cleaned out, and maybe put some kind of screen or something in there to keep crap from falling down there. I'll have to look back in the videos and see if I've got some video when I had this off that I can show you. But for the front, so for the front, you don't really see them eaten up with rust as bad typically. Usually the problem is fenders are, if they're dented or, you know, do have rust. They don't make these. You can't just buy reproduction front fenders. You can buy reproduction rear quarters, but you can't get reproduction front fenders. So make sure your fenders are good, or at least repairable. The tops are definitely prone to rusting around the windows. The rear gates around the windows, and along the inside. Let me open here. So along this piece here, underneath this covering, where the top meets the body of the Scout, those are typically will be rusted out. I've had these off recently, and this side of mine is not bad. This side over here needs to be. It's going to have some extensive repair done to it. So tops, they're expensive too. Usually about the same price as a windshield frame, $1,000 for a repairable one. So be prepared for that if your top is bad and has to be replaced. So continuing on the inside, back in the back, this one's not bad. It does have some spots you can see here, here. But see, that's all filled up with dirt. That's all mud and dirt kicked up from the back tire that comes up around the side here and just packs the whole inside of that. So anytime you have that kind of stuff going on, you're going to have rust and stuff to deal with. So, from the factory, this had like a carpeting, well, like a rubber mat with some type of sound deadening fiber stuff underneath it, and it was like glued down, and I figure it caught moisture and contributed to this rusting out some. So you can see, oh, I got a hole right there. So all this is thin right here. Now fortunately there is reproduction metal for this, so this can be replaced. These seals, I wouldn't really worry about seals too much. There's a seal that should be here on the back and stuff. I pulled all these off. You can get reproduction replacements for that. Gotten some bubbling starting here. I've painted this bumper before about 20 years ago. It's starting to kind of need it again. So let's look underneath. I'll show you where the really trouble spots are that make these things expensive to fix. Now on these fenders under here, there's the inner fender, and they kind of come together back here, and so what happens is you get dirt and stuff accumulate on top of this and in this wedge. And so see, I've got a spot right here. So, but this is pretty mild. Usually when you see one of these, the rear quarters will just be totally gone on them. Try to do this underneath here and see if I can get this camera to hold its position. So one thing you want to check in Scouts, typically the floor pans will be pretty bad. You can see these aren't terrible. I do have, so this mount here is in pretty bad shape, needs to be replaced. You can see some starting to rust through up here. So they call these the wedges. Just make sure if all this bracing is good, that's good, but usually it's not uncommon for all this have to be cut out and replaced. Inner rockers, so this side over here is really, I mean, it's not bad considering its age and what it's been used for and such. I wasn't kind to it when I was a teenager. Driver's side, it's a little bit different. I'll show you this. I should show you one on the inside, but so this is part of the floor pan. It's got a completely rusted through here. There was carpet there that basically caught moisture coming down. So one thing you can tell is, I don't know if you've ever heard me shut the doors. The passenger door shuts really easy. The driver's side is hanging, the hinges to be fixed and such. So over on this side, the door didn't seal well from wear and tear, and that allowed more moisture intrusion. So this inner rocker, the floor pan back there where the carpet stayed wet, that needs to be, it's gonna have to be replaced. And then up here, the floor is starting to get a little bit right there. It's gonna have to be looked at. So, but most of the floor pan in this is still okay, which is rare. So you can see inside now. I've pulled some of the carpet up. Some of it's still there, you can see, but this water leaked. So water would leak through this window, come down, get this wet, get that wet, and so it's rusted through right there. So here's another look at this side. It's a lot cleaner in there now that I've hosed it out, but it was pretty bad. Typically, I would say for most scouts, expect to have to replace the floor pan on both sides. Mine needs it in spots, but it's one of the lucky ones, I think. Also want to check these areas here, the dog leg. Of course, the rocker on this side is about like on the other side. This door is in a little better shape, which is surprising because the driver's side door is in better shape, but the other stuff is worse. But on the other side, it's the opposite. One other area I thought of after I got it back in the garage that I forgot to mention was the hoods. I've seen hoods that are completely rusted out with the structure underneath around those areas, but usually what will happen is right here at the hinge. Let me open this up so you can see, just depending on how it's been used and kept, it is possible to get stuff inside these areas here. And so I've seen these rusted out, the structure underneath. But typically, this area right here is prone to rusting. If a hood is bad, that's usually where you'll see it, is in where the hinge mounts along the front. These areas along the front here. So the inner fenders as well, like on this side, this one's not bad. This one's pretty good. On the other side, where the battery tray was, it would hold crud underneath it, and there's a hole rusted through underneath the battery. So it is possible that you may have to do repair work on those. So I hope that helps give you an idea, kind of, if you're in the market thinking about buying one of these, kind of what to be looking for, what to avoid. They can be expensive to fix and repair.